Okay, Assalamu alaikum. We have completed the first part of the lipids and we'll be moving to the next part. Lipids, as you all know, the lipids are the water insoluble substance, either hydrophobic, polar and non-polar. These were the types of lipids. Just to get you back, these were the functions. It gives 9 kilocalories, its energy reservoir and insulation to the body. Then we had essential fatty acids, linoleic and arachidonic acids. Okay. It also helps to carry fat soluble vitamins, specifically A, D, E, and K, the four fat soluble vitamins. And it gives us flavor, taste, gives us satiety, fullness, because the digestion is slower. This is the structure of fatty acid with an acid group, a carbon in between. Then we discussed about saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated doesn't contain any double bond, and unsaturated contains double bond. If it starts from 3, it's omega 3, carbon number 3, it's omega 3, and if it starts with omega carbon number 6, it's omega 6, and if it starts with 3 and 6, then it's omega 3. Then these are the vegetable oils, the seed oils we use: sunflower oil, canola oil, olive oil, etc., etc. Then we use animal fat, the fat which is present in meat. Then we discussed about the triacyl glycerols. When one fatty acid attached with the glycerol, it's called monoacyl glycerol. When two attaches, they are known as diacyl glycerol. And when three fatty acids attach to one glycerol, is known as triacyl glycerol or triglycerides in a short form, or TGs as we labeled as mono, di, and triacyl glycerols. Then we discussed that they have triacyl glycerols are not mono, or they are mono, di, and tris, but they are in long chain, medium chain, and short chain. And we also discussed the digestion, absorption, that they are broken down to fatty acid and glycerols. And the fatty acids are digested by bile salts, and the digestion starts from mouth by lingual lipase, then gastric lipase in the children for the lipids in the milk, and in adults we have pancreatic lipase to basically break down the fatty triacylglycerols into di and mono, and then finally into fatty acid and glycerols. Then we discussed that we have different kinds of phospholipids, specifically the sphingophospholipid and glycophospholipids. Then we discussed about cholesterol, very important second component of lipid, and it does not get stored in the body, and useful because it makes lots of things: steroid hormones, sex hormones, vitamin D, bile salts. Discuss the structure of cholesterol. Then we discuss the waxes like bee wax, ear wax, and waxes which protects the fruits, the covering of the fruits. Then we discussed different types of phospholipids present in the body, like lecithin, which is phosphatidylcholine. Phosphatidic acid combined with choline is known as phosphatidylcholine, known as lecithin. Then we had four fat soluble vitamins: vitamin A, D, and E, and K. Vitamin A basically is needed for the vision, for growth, for repairing, specifically for the vision. Its deficiency causes night blindness, most important vitamin. Then we have vitamin D, which is important, known as cholecalciferol. Vitamin A is known as retinol. Vitamin D is known as cholecalciferol or In short form, we have calcitriol. It is needed to absorb calcium. We discussed in the last lecture that when vitamin D is basically preformed in the skin, under the skin, in the form of 7-dehydrocholesterol, and then we have sunlight. When the skin is exposed to sunlight, it's converted to cholecalciferol, which is basically moved to liver, where we have 25 alpha hydroxylase, which converts this vitamin D1 into D2, that is 25 alpha cholecalciferol. Then this 25 alpha cholecalciferol moves to kidney, and it's converted by 1 alpha hydroxylase into 125 dihydroxy cholecalciferol, which is vitamin D3, active vitamin D, which basically reabsorb calcium, which is basically going into the urine, and absorbs calcium, which is taken in the diet from the intestines. So its active vitamin D is needed for the absorption of calcium. If you don't have vitamin D, the calcium will not be absorbed. Then we have the third vitamin, fat soluble vitamin, that is vitamin E, and it's basically tocopherols. And vitamin E is needed for as an potent antioxidant. It kills oxidants which are generated inside the body or we get from the atmosphere. It's useful in the sterility. It's useful for the skin. So that's why we need vitamin E. And vitamin K is basically needed to basically activates the clotting factors which are being made in the liver, and clotting factors are needed to make clots when we have bleeding inside or outside from external injury or in the internal injury. So vitamin K is needed. This is a chart showing different kinds of vitamins A, D and K. Vitamin A, retinol, 20 carbons, absorption of light in vision, basically in the night vision. So if you don't have vitamin A, the person becomes night blind. In the day he can see, but in night he cannot see because of the deficiency of rhodopsin, which is made from retinol. Vitamin A. Vitamin D from cholesterol, regulation of calcium and phosphorus. Alpha tocopherols, aromatic ring with long hydrocarbon chain, antioxidants, prevents oxidation damage to cellular membranes. Vitamin K is a bicyclic ring system with long hydrocarbon chains, regulates blood clotting, and in bone it also helps in the bone formation. Then we have PUFA. You all be knowing that when we have ads of oils, different kinds of oils in the TV or so, they are labeled those oils as PUFA. PUFA means polyunsaturated fatty acids. It means it contains more than one double bond. So it's poly double bonds. Take it, 2 or more double bonds. Member of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. And omega-3 means the first double bond is on the third carbon. Omega-6 means the first double bond is on 6 carbon. So we have 1 omega-3 and 2 omega-6 fatty acids, also labeled as essential fatty acids. Linoleic acid is omega-3 fatty acids. Linoleic and arachidonic acid are omega-6 fatty acids. Richest source of PUFA or polyunsaturated fatty acids are the vegetables oils, like we use sunflower or canola oils, cottonseed oils, corn oil, olive oil, and so on. So they are basically polyunsaturated. That's basically they are easy to digest, easy to absorb. So that's why they are labeled as good fats as compared to the animal fat or the ghee, butter, etc., etc. Okay, this is showing the omega indicates the position of first double bond. The first point of unsaturation, if next to third carbon, is omega-3, if first to 6 carbon is omega-3. Common sources of omega-3 fatty acids, the linoleic acid, include fish oils, plant oils. Take care. Omega-3 also have an anti-inflammatory benefit and help prevent heart diseases. That's why omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids are mostly present in olive oil. That's why olive oil is labeled as very good as compared to other oils. Omega-6 fatty acids are found in poultry, eggs, avocado, nuts, cereals, wheat, etc., etc. And omega-6 lowers blood cholesterol, support the skin. So as I have told you before, that olive oil basically reduces the blood cholesterol level. So it is very good, because the cholesterol is, if it's lower in the blood vessels, it will not be stuck up in the vessels and will not cause atherosclerosis, and can prevent heart disease, brain diseases like ischemic heart disease and stroke, etc., etc. Now, why we need essential fatty acids? Essential fatty acids are those fatty acids, as we know, that they are not produced inside the body, and we have to take them in diet. And essential fatty acids are being the sources are like poultry, eggs, and specifically in fish oil and fish. And why they are needed for us? Because they are essential fatty acids are involved in regulating pressures in eye, joints, blood vessels, and mediating immune responses, regulating body secretions and their viscosity, dilating and constricting blood vessels, regulating collateral circulations, directing endocrine hormones to the target cells. So they are very much needed in different areas of the body, and they are good for us. So we have to take them in the diet, because they cannot be produced inside our body. Otherwise, different fatty acids are converted to different fatty acids inside the body. But these essential fatty acids, specifically linoleic, linoleic, and arachidonic acid, they are not produced in the body. So have to take them in the diet, specifically from the fish, poultry, and nuts, etc., because they are needed for eye, joint, blood vessels, immune system, secretions, blood vessels, endocrine glands, and so on. They also needed to regulate smooth muscles and autonomic nervous system, primary constituent of cell membrane, regulating the rate of cell division and mitosis, maintaining the fluidity and rigidity of cell membrane. So they are very good for us. So we have to take more essential fatty acids other than other as fatty acids. They also regulate the inflow and outflow of substance to and from the cells by the channels, transporting oxygen from red cells to the tissues, maintaining proper kidney function and fluid balance, keeping saturated fats mobile in the bloodstream, preventing blood cells from clumping together, blood clots that can cause heart attack and stroke, because they can form a blockage, ischemia. They also mediate the release of inflammatory substances from cells that may trigger allergic reactions. They regulate nerve transmission and communication. If the diet is deficient in omega-6 or omega-3 fatty acids, long-term degenerative illnesses will result. Basically, the nerves becomes degenerated, or the things becomes degenerated, and that's why we need essential fatty acid for them. And so that's why we have to take them in the diet. So we are not deficient of these essential fatty acids. And as we discussed, we can get from omega-3, omega-6 basically from the poultry, eggs, avocado, nuts, vegetable oils, specifically olive oil, and omega-3 from fish. Now we move on to the classification of lipids. Lipids are classified so that they are easy to understand. These are the same lipids, but they are classified according to their different areas. Lipids are the heterogeneous group of organic substance, insoluble in water, soluble in organic solvents, related to fatty acids lies by the living cells. They're the concentrated fuel reserve of the body, like triglycerols. Triglycerols get stored in the adipose tissue. The cholesterol doesn't get stored. Always remember that the cholesterol does not get stored in the body. If it gets stored, it will store in the vessels, and they cause atherosclerosis or the blockage. Lipids are also the constituents of membrane structures and regulate membrane permeability, like phospholipids and cholesterol, source of fat soluble vitamins. Cellular metabolic regulators हैं, protect internal cells, insulating materials, give shape to the body. Now the classification is in 5 types: simple lipids, complex or compound lipids, derived lipids, miscellaneous, and neutral lipids. The compound or the complex lipids basically contains lipids and other compound. Like phospholipids, it contains phosphates or phosphorus. Glycolipids contain carbohydrates, glyco. Lipoproteins basically contains protein combined with lipids. Then phospholipids are again divided into glycerophospholipids and sphingolipids depending on their alcohol. Glycolipids are only glycosphingolipids, and lipoproteins we have HDL, LDL, VLDL, chylomicrons. So first of all, we have simple lipids. Simple lipids are the esters of fatty acids with alcohol. Fats and oils, esters of fatty acid with glycerol. Like oils is liquid while fat is solid at room temperature. So basically oils and fats, they are the esters of fatty acid with alcohol. Specifically the alcohol is glycerol, and the difference between the oils and fats is basically they are liquid at room temperature and they are solid at temperature. Both are basically esters of fatty acid with alcohol, and with the alcohol is glycerol. The waxes, the simplest lipids, the second simplest lipids, they are the esters of fatty acid with alcohol, but the alcohol is not glycerol. So this is waxes. If the alcohol is glycerol, it becomes fats and oils. If the alcohol is other than glycerol, it becomes waxes. These are the simple lipids. Then we have compound or complex lipids, the esters of fatty acid with alcohol plus containing additional groups such as phosphates, nitrogenous bases, carbohydrates, proteins. Phospholipids, glycolipids, lipoproteins and others. Phospholipids contain phosphates, as I have told you that it contains carbohydrates, lipoprotein contain proteins, and glycol, so on. Then phospholipids basically are divided into two, glycophospholipids and sphingophospholipids, and basically they are divided or they are separated by the alcohol. The glycophospholipid contains esters of fatty acid with glycerol, and sphingophospholipids contains esters of fatty acid with sphingosine. The alcohol is sphingosine, like sphingomyelin and sphingophospholipid. And the example of glycophospholipids are lecithin and cephalin. Then glycophospholipids, that is an example of glycophospholipid. It contains phosphatidic acid, lecithin. Phosphatidic acid is simplest phospholipid, and lecithin most abundant phospholipid in the cell membrane. It contains choline, as we discussed earlier. Cephalins, ethylamine is the nitrogenous base present in brain tissues. Then we have phosphatidyl inositol, that is IP3, that is needed for the second messenger system. Then we have phosphatidyl serine, it contains amino acid serine. Plasmogens, fatty acid attached to a linkage glycerol to form plasmogens, chiefly found in skeletal muscles, brain, liver and platelets. Then we have cardiolipids, which is isolated from heart muscles. They are basically present in heart lipids, and they are important component of mitochondrial membrane of the heart tissue. Then we have sphingophospholipid. Sphingomyelin is made from the sphingophospholipid. Sphingosine is present, important constituent of myelin sheet which covers the myelin, found in brain and nervous tissue, because the nerves, they are covered, basically the myelin sheath is the covering of the nerves, and that myelin sheath is made from sphingomyelin. Then we have glycolipids, which we have only one example, that is glycosphingolipid, and glycerol and phosphates are absent, and they are examples are cerebrocytes and gangliosides. These are the cells basically made in the brain tissue. Then we have lipoproteins, macromolecules complex with lipids and proteins. We have discussed earlier. They are needed for the digestion, absorption and transport of lipids. We have three types of lipoproteins. Low density lipoproteins are labeled as LDL, high density lipoproteins are labeled as HDL, and then we have the chylomicron. Chylomicrons basically pick up all of the digested fats from the intestines. Then LDL basically starts its journey from liver and gives off triacylglycerols, cholesterol esters, phospholipids to the tissues. HDL basically does the reverse cholesterol transport, as we discussed earlier. It picks up the extra amount of cholesterol from the periphery and brings back to the liver. So these are the three types of lipoproteins. And the other complex lipids are sulfolipids, which contain sulfur groups, aminolipids, which contain amino acids in the lipids, lipopolysaccharides, it contains polysaccharides with the lipids. The third classification is derived lipids. Derived is basically extracted from the first and second simple or compound lipids obtained on the hydrolysis of group 1 and 2. Group 1 is basically the simple lipids, group 2 is compound lipids or complex lipids. They include, if they possess the characteristics of lipids, they include glycerol and fatty acids, mono, di, acylglycerols. When triacylglycerol is broken down, It makes diacyl glycerol, makes monocyl glycerol, and monocyl glycerols when broken down, it gives us fatty acids and glycerol. Another form of these derived lipids are lipid soluble vitamins, which is extracted from the lipids. Then we have steroid hormones, we have ketone bodies. Then we have miscellaneous lipids. These include a large number of compounds possessing the characteristics of lipids, but they are not true lipids, like carotenoids, squalene, hydrocarbons, which is present in the beeswax, in the methane gas. Squalene hai, carotenoids. These are basically the miscellaneous lipids which possess the characteristics of lipids. They are uh, just like lipids, but they are not true lipids. Then we have neutrolipids, which uncharged and are referred as neutral, mono, di, triacylglycerols, cholesterol and cholesterol esters. They don't have charge, they are uncharged. So these are the 5 types of lipids: simple lipids, compound lipids, derived lipids, and miscellaneous and neutrolipids. Simple contains fats and oils and waxes. Complex contains phospholipids, glycolipids, lipoprotein, aminolipids, sulfolipids, etc. Derived, which is from simple and complex, mono, mono, fatty acid, and glycerol. Miscellaneous, which behave like lipids but not neutral lipids. Neutral are the triacylglycerols and cholesterol, which are neutral, they are uncharged. This is cholesterol. The formula is C27H45OH. Steroid parent nucleus है, third carbon hydroxyl, double bond between fifth and sixth carbon, 2 methyl groups, carbon number 10 and 11, 8 carbon containing side chain at carbon number 17. This is the structure of cholesterol. You have to remember the cholesterol structure. It basically forms whitish yellowish pearly granules, tasteless and odorless, insoluble in water, sparingly soluble in alcohol and soluble in ether or chloroform, easily crystallized form solution. It is sponifiable, it can form soaps. Melting point is around 147 to 150 degrees Celsius. Cholesterol, when mixed with fat and oils, it enables the fat to absorb water. So that's why it's present in the cell membrane. It's a good insulator, thus found in abundance in brain and nervous tissue. Sources, we have dietary sources. We take cholesterol from different, like egg yolk hai, butter hai, ghee hai. These basically contains cholesterol, and cholesterol can be synthesized inside the body also from the acetyl CoA. So 1 grams per day can be synthesized indigenously. Essential constituent of cell hai, cell permeability. It also helps in fat transport, precursors of bile acids, steroid hormones, vitamin D, anti-lipotrophic factor. Distributed cell membrane and cytoplasm, brain and nervous tissues, body fluid except cerebrospinal fluid. It's also present in muscles, skin. Level is around 150 to 250 milligrams, or less than, nowadays it's less than 200 milligrams per deciliter. The balance between cholesterol influx and influx should be precise, resulting in gradual deposition of cholesterol. If it's not precise, then the cholesterol becomes deposited in the vessels and causes forming of atherosclerosis or atheroma, which results in ischemia and cause myocardial infarction, brain strokes, liver damage, or kidney damage. The sites most deposition are vasculature. Basically, the cholesterol, if it gets stored in the vessels, so specifically the arteries. That's why it's dangerous, known as atherosclerosis. And signs symptoms are chest pain, sweating, dyspnea, cough, and hemoptysis. So that's with the lipids today. Thank you.